On September 28, 2025, Kana Momonogi has announced that after 10 years of becoming a JAV actress, she will be retiring from the industry. While her comments are mostly about congratulating her for her career as a Navy actress and some sad fans, including myself, lamenting her retirement, part of me actually started thinking about what's gonna happen to Kana Momonogi's home studio, IDEAPOCKET. And looking at the IDEAPOCKET discourse on Japanese social media as well as other forums, I found that there is already a sentiment that IDEAPOCKET itself as a studio has fallen out of favor. And from reading all those comments online, it actually gave me the idea for this video in which I myself try to explore what's happened to IDEAPOCKET and why are people slowly falling out of favor, including myself with the studio. Hi, I'm Waifu Collector and I'm an avid fan of Japanese adult video or JAV. I even made a YouTube channel just to talk about it. And in this video, I'll try to find the reasons as to the downfall of IDEAPOCKET as a studio in the eyes of fans. But first, let's look at how IDEAPOCKET as a studio has been doing lately. And for that, I took some of Apira's sales report from the Zenra blog, which is a great resource if you're interested in JAV, by the way. I also write some articles for them from time to time. And I took the sales report from April to August. And let's just look at the actresses that are topping the sales charts and let's see who are exclusive to IDEAPOCKET. And for April, we find two of them at the top 10. We have Airi Kajima at number 6 and Mitsuri Nagahama at number 10. But as we go through the other months of this sales report, you can see that barely anyone of the IDEAPOCKET aside from Mitsuri Nagahama have placed top 10. And the other months has been dominated by other studios like Moody's and S1. And even some SOD actresses, which is sort of a smaller studio than IDEAPOCKET, have been doing better in them in this. Sentiment online in Japanese social media and forums have also been quite negative about IDEAPOCKET in recent years. They find that the studio label and roster have changed and not for the better. And with that, I'll try to explain my own personal opinion on why IDEAPOCKET as a studio has fallen off. And for the first reason, it's that they have no face as a studio. And what do you mean by face? It's no one is their like flagship actress or the one that they're actually embodying the studio as a whole. And I'll just give a few examples of what I think are the flagship actress from other studios. Like for S1, you have Kana Seto. And previously, you might remember Yoba Mikami. She's like the face of S1. If you see her, you know that she's embodying S1 as a studio. And for Moody's, you can have maybe Miya Ishikawa or Rena Miyashita. Like they've been there the whole time in their career. And for SOD, you can even say like Mano Sakura has been a veteran for a long time, and you have Yuno Agura or Tadaima Hiro who has also been there for a long time, or maybe Suzu Honju. So you see like small roster or subset of their exclusive actresses that are like for lifers, and they're really in being promoted like by the studio itself. But for IDEAPOCKET, they have a few veterans. There's not really a lot of activities around them to like being the face of the studio. Like for the studio itself right now, I would have listed 3 possible candidates. We have Momo Sakura, Karen Kaede, and Kana Momonogi, which with this retirement announcement, it seems that that's why she didn't want to be the face of the IDEAPOCKET studio, because she was already planning to retire. But for Momo Sakura, she's more focused on her own social media, like live streaming on TikTok, and she's very reserved as a person. She's not really that public anymore. And for Karen Kaede, she already had an incident of leaving the studio for Faleno. And she's even took a hiatus this year. So she's not really that active as the face of the studio. And the other actresses that they have aren't really that veteran enough to be the face of the studio. Which leads into my second reason that I think IDEAPOCKET has fallen off. The second reason I have is that they have a very weak veteran actress pool. So I already listed Karen Kaede, Momo Sakura, and Kana Momonogi, and those are great. They're some of my favorite actresses of all time. But outside of those 3, there are other veteran actresses and the studio aren't really doing that great. And for my opinion, is it really my style? So who are these veteran actresses? So we have Yumi Nishimiya, who I personally like but is quite underrated. And aside from her, we have Akari Tsumuki, who's a triple exclusive to other studios. Airi Kajima has already retired, and the other people that have stayed in the company for more than 4 years is gonna be like the other 3 I already mentioned, Kana, Momo, and Karen. And if we compare that with other studios like S1, they have a wealth of veteran actresses in their roster. They have Aika Yumeno, Saki Okuda, Aoi Tsukasa, Saika Kawakita, Miru, Riri Nanasumori, who have been in the studio for a long time. Even Moody's, they have like Miyu Nanasawa, Sakura Miura, who have been with them. Rika Ono, who's celebrating her 5th anniversary as a JAV actress, as a Moody's exclusive. You have Nozumi and Awa Ibuki. and Nanayagi, who've been with them for a few years now. And for SOD, you have like Manasakura, OG veteran. You have Yuna Ogura, Suzuhonju, Tade Mahiro, Natsume Hibiki, Mei Miyajima. And comparing that to Idea Pocket, like their veteran actors pool have been quite strong, and having more veteran actresses with established fan bases is gonna lift up the studio, even if they're like not their best sellers. So, with Idea Pocket having only like Yume and Akari, it's gonna be weak compared to the other studios. Another problem that Idea Pocket is having is that they have actresses that are leaving them in like 1 to 2 years after being exclusive with them and going freelance or joining other studios. And I'll list a few of them, like Ryo Asahi or Aoi Iwasaki, who have now moved on to other studios. And even one of my recent favorites, Karin Kitaoka, who, if you didn't know, actually was a Idea Pocket exclusive. But now she's doing great as a freelancer. In fact, if you look back at the sales report I showed earlier, you'll see her at the top of the charts. So I don't know what's happening with the studio, why they're having difficulty retaining talent, and frankly, I'm just an outsider. I'm not even in the job industry. I don't have any official job I'm just a fan. And but from the outside, seeing all this talent moving away after 1 to 2 years, it makes me wonder if something's wrong with the studio, and it also contributes to have them having weaker sales and not having a bigger name recognition than they used to before. So if Idea Pocket is having trouble with veterans, maybe they can shore up their actress roster by having exciting debuts. But in my opinion, if you compare them to the other big studios, they're not doing that great in signing new talent as well. What do I mean by saying they don't have exciting debuts? Well, let's compare them to the big name debuts that other studios have. So, S1, the story of this year is gonna be Kana Seto. Kana Seto, when she became a gravure model, she was very popular out of the get-go. She made a name for herself outside of JAV. And when she debuted for JAV, it boosted her popularity even more because more people are now curious because they've successfully converted her fans from gravure to AV. So, it's that kind of like backstory or even like proper setup is what makes a debut more appealing and having more buzz than usual. S1's mastered this. They have like Rui Shido, who used to be an actual actress, and you have Karen Ishida, who used to be an idol. Even Moody's, who's not known for having like big name debuts, they're more known for their transfers. Even signed Sana Mashiro, who followed Kana Seto. She first debuted in Gravure for a few months before joining Moody's as a Navy actress. SOD has been doing this for a while now with their recent announcement with Nana Ogasawara, and even having some of their older talents like Ui Amagami, who's also a Gravure idol. And even if we look at the few years back, you have Yotsuha Kominato, who's an underground idol, which is kind of popular in her niche market. And even someone who was an actual theater actress with Nagisa Koike. And in this aspect, from ID Pocket, from their debuts this year, or even like the past 2 years or 3 years, I don't have anyone that I can remember clearly having a established backstory or even like established marketing even before they debuted into becoming an AV actress. Seems like they're very content with just signing like pretty girls and saying like, oh, this girl's college lady or like this office worker or this like 20-year-old something is gonna be an AV actress, and they're not really setting them up for success anymore. I think the only exception for this is Sakura Wakana, who used to be an idol as well. But even though her idol pass isn't really that exploited, it's not even exploited by Idea Pocket for their marketing, so it's kind of a loss on some people. Another aspect that they've been failing at is signing big name transfers. Well, Idea Pocket as a studio has never done transfers as a whole. In fact, their latest transfer is Hinano Kuno, who's actually Asami Shiyo, who has been on a hiatus and renamed before joining Idea Pocket. And before that, it's gonna be like Amiri Saito, who was signed with Idea Pocket a long time ago. So they're not really known for like big name transfers. And if you compare this to a studio who's been doing great with transfers like Moody's, you've got Unpai transferring to Moody's, Kanan Amamiya from SOD transferring to Moody's, you have Ryo Asahi transferring to Moody's as well. And let's not forget their 5 big name actresses that recently signed with Rima Arai, Haruhi Moka, Wakami Sono, Ichika Matsumoto, Hinako Mori, and now Alice Nanase, which they unveiled like a secret hidden 6 transfer. Having these big names already established, shore up your roster as a studio is also going to be doing great for your sales and your recognition or your brand as well. And Idea Pocket hasn't been doing that. And for my final reason on why I haven't been that big of a fan of IDEAPOCKET lately, it's gonna be that they're just rehashing tired out genres. Like, how many times are you gonna show your actresses to lockers? Like, it's funny the first few times around, like when it became even a viral hit. Their actresses getting shoved into lockers, but it's getting tired out. Like, my wife being sold to a yakuza or a student gets caught shoplifting. These concepts are just tired out, man. What's disappointing is that they even discontinued some of my favorite series from the studio, like the digital channel, Rola Misaki's digital channel. So like one of my all-time favorite go-tos as a JAV film to watch, and even like Vacuum Fellatio or Gorgeous Masturbation Support. There's nothing in that caliber anymore. Like, I'm so tired of seeing IDEAPOCKET doing the whole hot spring shoot thing again, like going on a date on a hot spring, or being sold off to the yakuza, or being cuckolded by my boss. It's like so tiring. Well, S1 and Moody's have been doing like crazy concepts and have been trying to push the boundaries. IDEAPOCKET has just become quite monotone. And those are the 5 reasons, in my opinion, that why IDEAPOCKET hasn't been doing that great lately. And don't get me wrong, I still love the studio. I still think they're a big part of the JAV industry. In fact, one of my favorite actresses to follow and watch right now is Saki Sasaki, who's an exclusive to IDEAPOCKET. And it's just quite sad that outside of her and me being a fan of Momo Sarakara, that I'm not really that interested in what IDEAPOCKET is offering in their actresses and in their other films and what they're doing with their films. So, and it's just quite disheartening that they haven't really been holding my interest as well recently. And that's gonna do it for this video. Once again, I'm Waifu Collector. I make videos and content about the JAV industry. If you'd like, you can follow my Facebook page and my Instagram page where I post news and just pictures of AV actresses that I like. Follow me on Zenra as well. I write some articles for them, and thank you for watching.